Yo, what up, guys? Nickelodeon. We are live. Well, actually, we're not live. We are recording from Finishers HQ. This is Zach's Corner Podcast, starring yours truly, Big Uncle Zach. What's up, everybody? It's another Wednesday night, October 22nd, and just chilling in the office. Gonna rip one of these pods real quick, and then got to dip out, get some chicken, get some steak, right? That's what I just randomly packed in a little container for myself, just a random piece of chicken and steak. But I'm a meat eater, so it's gonna taste good. I'm excited for that, and I eat vegetables too, just in case anybody was wondering. Let's see. Let's get right into it. Got a lot of people asking me about like back injuries and stuff like that. I know a lot of guys have had some back injuries. I have double scoliosis, and that's it's an interesting thing to deal with because it kind of makes me like hyper flexible, I guess, if you will, in certain situations, like the way my hips are pointed and everything. But my like I can't reach down and touch my toes, so like my lower back is like just the way my hip is, the way it's definitely not 100%. So thing with that is it's a problem, you know. So I have to like compensate for it kind of when I walk, sometimes when I'm standing, and I'll get different pains in different parts of my back. And I started, so two things that I do to try to combat the pain. Obviously I roll out at night, try to roll out before training. You know, when I went to Made Strength and Conditioning, Craig would always tell you like, hey, you have to roll out before you do anything, you know. So that would be the first thing. You go over and you just roll out, not really stretch per se. Like I see people like stretching and stuff. Like, I don't know if that's the greatest thing for you. I think rolling out and just kind of warming up your muscles in that way, maybe doing some squats, maybe doing a couple of sprawls in a corner or something like that, just moving your body around. And we always rolling out huge. And then, and I think that's a better way to warm up too. Like if you're warming up for a jiu-jitsu class, we don't really do any of the traditional warm-ups anymore. We don't run around in a circle. You know, we don't throw our hands up and like do any type of chants or anything like that. That's a cult. And then we also don't do, shrimping or anything like that. We don't do any of the traditional warm-ups, I guess you would say. And the reason why we don't do them is just because we only have so much time, and I figure the best thing served for us to do is to, I moved the mic down, sorry guys. The best thing served for us to do is to do actual jiu-jitsu or wrestling. So instead of in advanced class anyways, and in fundamentals too, we just kind of start on the feet, and I show them a couple techniques. Maybe we play some eco games, and then we go from there. But we're never really just, hey, let's go down the line. Like we still do drilling and stuff like that, but it's not as much as we used to. Obviously, I remember back in the day, people would teach class for like an hour and a half, and then you would do a half-hour rolling. Like I can't even believe people would sit through that. Now with phones, you're going through your phone every 3 seconds, you're checking it, looking at the next thing. There's no way people would ever be able to sit for that period of time anymore. I don't believe they would anyway. So you got to keep it short and sweet. You got to do some games. You got to show people a few techniques, and then you got to let them, kind of learn from there. So, but training mode's been great. Everything's been going good at the gym. Oh yeah, what am I talking about, dude? I'm not even getting to that yet. I want to go back to, let's go back to when I was talking about, and this was a minute ago when I was talking about back injuries, and I got off on, I started riffing. Lord forgive me for riffing, but we'll head back to the back injury topic. And not that my back is injured, but I'm just dealing with a weird situation where like my spine kind of goes like an S. I know not everybody has that. People still have back pain. Could be, pressure being put down. Could be someone stack you. You know what I mean? So that is one thing you definitely have to work on, like being able to be stacked. You shouldn't stack anyone in class on their neck or head or anything like that, but it is important to, have that type of flexibility if you're going to be able to do jiu-jitsu for a long time. So kind of anytime I do that now and really have to go on my neck if I'm not warmed up, it just like right away puts like a buzzer in my lower back. Like that's how I feel. I'm like, I feel like someone's stabbing me, and I know I'm going to be sore the next day and wake up like walking like, I can barely move, and until it takes me like the entire day to warm up. That's why I need to get a sauna for my house. But the two things I would say that I do the most besides rolling out is I use a reverse hyper that we have here at the gym. And look it up if you don't know what a reverse hyper is. You can just YouTube it, and you can see like with the reverse hyper, we're kind of you lay your stomach on it, and you hold on to these two things. You could put weights on it too, because you put like a little strap on your legs, and you lay on it like this, and you take your legs go backwards. So what it does is it elongates your back. And if you use a little bit of weight, it's kind of like pulling your back apart a little bit, like it's making your hips and everything have to be like, I don't know what this is, bro science, elongated, right? But it makes them longer, right? It does a little bit of traction on your back. And then also what that does too, if you can get up to like 20 reps, they told me, doing a few doesn't do anything, but if you get up to 20 reps, you actually start strengthening your lower back and strengthening your glutes, which is really what you want to do. So to combat a lot of back pain, you need to strengthen your core. So I'm always working on that. I need to do that more. I've been super lazy with it. And then also too, I do hanging. So I've been hanging. I have a rack at home where I can, it's a short rack because it's got to fit in my garage, but it has the bars. That's originally why I got it. Like obviously lifting weights is great, but being able to hang off that is really huge. So if there's any way you can get yourself one of those pull-up bars that go in the middle of the doorway, or if you can put one in your garage, because garages rip, guys. Like if you guys haven't hung out in garages anytime lately, I think garages are ripping right now. I think garages are really popular amongst guys my age especially. One thing too is I need to get a garage fridge. I think that's really important. That's something that I need to, actually I'm going to write that down. I need a garage fridge immediately. Garage fridge. Maybe I'll just get a new fridge and move my current fridge out to my garage fridge. That's maybe what I'll have to do. I'll have to drop my current fridge down to my number 2 fridge, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, hanging, if you can do hanging, I'm not sure for how long either. We'll have to look that up. Maybe we'll chat GPT how long you should be hanging. I just do it until I can't anymore, which isn't very long, but it definitely, like when I hang on it, and Brian, back in the day when I was working with Brian a little bit, he would have me hang on it and then twist my hips back and forth, and that would really help me. And really, like, I can like kind of like lean, it kind of looks weird, but I can like lean different ways and just make my hips move, kind of like Shakira, and it elongates my hips or whatever. I don't know why I keep saying that. And I even feel the pops in my lower back, where it's like I'm getting a chiropractic treatment, and it's just constantly needing to get that traction. So anything you do for that, some people, I've seen Instagram ones where you're like, oh, hang over the edge of a bed or something like that, but it's kind of hard to do, right? It's kind of hard to do, and I don't feel like that's enough for me. I need it like whatever the thing is on steroids. I actually should get the thing that hangs on my hips as well and pulls down on my hips. So why don't I have that? I need the strap for the hips. Actually, pause. Shouldn't have said that, but you know what I mean. So definitely gonna get that. And if anyone else has any other ideas, I had a session with Light the Path Therapy, and what coach, Dr. Kyle was telling me was like to lay like this and like lift my front up. So I've been doing those exercises too, right, where I kind of keep my hips on the ground and then I just go like this. Those have been helping me a lot too. Those have been because it's like, again, strengthening my back, and that's what I really need to do. So what else? Let's talk about, we got WNO coming up this weekend. I don't know when this will be out, but I'll talk about it anyway. So upcoming WNO, it's an 8-man tournament, open weight tournament. I'm not sure how long the rounds are going to be. I'm not sure the rules. I'm sure they're going to be WNO rules. I don't think they're changing it. I haven't heard anything about changing the rules. I'm sure you just got to win. If there's 8 people, you got to win, 3 matches? So that's pretty cool. So you're going to see a couple of the guys. Is it 3? Yeah, 8 to 4. Or no, wait, maybe, yeah, 8 match, or, yeah, that's right. It's, maybe I'll have to draw it up. Because with 8 guys, each 2, boom, boom. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so you got to win your first one, then you move on, then you got to win that one, and you got to win a final. So you got to win 3 matches. So you're going to get to see a lot of these guys are really good. You get to see them multiple times in one night. And I think that's the cool thing about doing the brackets, when you do brackets, because you get to see the guy compete. If the guy wins, you get to see 4 matches out of him. So especially in like sub only, you're going to see, maybe a sub or two different submissions. Who knows? Some of these guys are really good. Might be tough to submit, but some of the guys are pretty much submission masters, if you will. I mean, come on, Goop Ice, you think he's going to be playing for points? Come on now. Goop Ice is trying to submit everybody. And, who else is in it? Ryan Aiken, obviously, Justin Michael. These guys, are looking for subs. Declan Moody. Dude, that's good. That guy's going to be tough. I've been learning a lot off his passing. Flow Grappling put out I think that was the Declan Moody passing thing I watched on Flow Grappling. Really good content if you want to look at that. Let me see here. Let me pull up. What is going on here? That's not it. What? That's not it either. Let's pull up Flow Grappling, WNO bracket. Let's see, we got who's in the bracket here. Yeah, Declan Moody. That guy's going to be tough. We got Achilles Rocha. That's going to be tough. Oh my God, Dante Leon. Dude, how did I not mention him in that other brief thing that I did for Flow? Dude, Dante is a beast. Drank a couple Red Bull vodkas with him before. So yeah, the bracket's going to be cool because you get to see a couple. You're going to get to see a couple of these guys, and not just mismatches, but like weight mismatches is what I really mean. Where Tristan Sands is going to have to go against somebody way bigger than him, like Ryan Aiken or something like that. So I don't know, who do I have prediction. I want Goop Ice to win, obviously, but man, I might have to go. I might have to go Dante or. Damn, I don't know. This is going to be sick, dude. I can't wait to watch this. I just think, it's different. I'm glad Ricardo and WNO, shout out to them for changing it up and, giving a bracket spot to, someone who had to qualify, which was Justin. So that was really dope. Owen Jones versus Gavin Corby. That's going to be sick. Dude, see, matches like that rip when like two guys that are at the lower weights really want to, who really go after it are going to go against each other. I believe someone's getting tapped in that one. Not sure who. Trinity Pun versus Sarah Galval. Sarah Galval is a beast. I didn't know about her. Obviously, in the gi world, she's probably a beast. But obviously, Trinity, former finishers champ. That's super huge. Devanch Johnson Pereira. I don't know Pereira. I think maybe Festor had a match against him. I'm not sure. But Devontae, obviously, well-deserved being on WNO. He's a beast. I got Devontae by arm triangle. That's what I'm calling it. I don't give a shit. Claire Butterfield versus, I'm not sure the other girl she's going against, but Claire's been up here. She's from Stout, which is in Pittsburgh, and this event is in Pittsburgh. So, then we got Dylan Cohen. Let's see here. Going to be competing. This is White. I want to pull up his Instagram so I can shout him out. White Monster Energy. There we go. Daniel Cohen. My bad, Dylan. Daniel Cohen right here, White Monster Energy, White Monster Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram. He's got the Monster Energy rash guard, and that's a good segue to jump right over to some results from the Finishers Fall Classic. He actually won a match. He was the first match, beat Cade in by arm triangle. I don't remember exactly how it happened. Sometimes the matches I miss because I'm watching the smooth comp or just making sure the computers are working and stuff, so sometimes I miss the actual thing. But yeah, so shout out to him, Daniel Cohen. He won the match at Finishers, and now he's on the undercard over here at WNO, which is this weekend, live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's going to be sick. It's Friday night. And there is a UFC Saturday, that's what they told me. I'll have to bring that up as well, right? But at least we know WNO is going down. Oh yeah, Finishers Fall Classic. Let's bring up the Finishers account here. If you're looking to follow them, Finishers sub only on Instagram, and Finishers is popping. We got Josh Flores defeated Nick DiGiacomo, so he's a new 145 champ. We got Sharon McGuire, Sharon McGear, I think that's how you say it. Has now Sharon McGeara. I'm so horrible with names. No one can say my name either, so it doesn't matter. But so I take the fifth on that one. But Sharon defeated Madeline Avila that was probably the most technical match. Both ladies were just reversing each other, and Sharon had her Madeline in some tough positions, still won. was still able to, avoid being submitted, which is super dope. She's tough as nails. She'll be back. I feel like she might be the champ one day for sure. Renee took the 185 belt, defended home court. That was super sick. Really excited to see him out there again competing. And you never know who you're going to get on the local cards. We had 4 title fights. Also, Sergio Villas defeated Matt Cantwell by split decision. Gutsy performance by Sergio. So glad to see him back at finishers. Now, a lot of the title holders, we might take a break till December because a lot of the people who have the titles are doing worlds and trials, and those are all coming up in November and early December. And then after December, we'll probably throw one still in December because not everybody does worlds, but a lot of people do trials. So we'll kind of work around it. I'll see who's wants to, throw down. Some people want to stay busy, so they like to get in finishers matches in. So, but yeah, we're going to keep it going. The underground is alive and well, but it is nice to take a little break. We just had 2 tournaments kind of back to back. One open and a WNO qualifier that was won by Cindy Young, and then we just had another one. So sometimes Big Uncle Zach needs a break, guys. I'm not going to lie. But I am taking my family to Disney World. We're going to trials, so that's going to be dope. And then I probably will try to break it to my wife that I should compete in Worlds because I was DQ'd at Pan Am's, and I'm still mad about it, guys. But I will make a comeback to IBJJF and try to destroy everybody not using leg locks. That is my goal. My goal is to try to win either Pan Am's or Worlds. I have to win like 3 or 4 matches and not use leg locks. That's what I'd really like to do. So I need to just set out a better game plan as opposed to just going in there and winging it and knowing that I can't do certain techniques. So I think that's super important, but got to take a little sip here of some quality H2O. And a lot of you guys are out there asking Big Uncle Zach, what are you drinking? And what I am drinking is a recommendation from Cut Pro, which is Anthony Knox. It's a guy we were working with, me and Jimbo were working with to cut some weight like professionals as opposed to just once again winging it. And the elixir that we make up, now I cheat, I use a little bit of LMNT. He says use just lemon, lime, and salt. But I use the LMNT and I just to give it a little bit more taste, and that is salt. So it's a salt packet, and it's really good. It is like elixir of the gods. It's so when you're tired or you're like training and you need a sip of water or whatever, or like you take a break and I'm like showing a move or talking about the next game we're gonna play, and you go over there and sip that, it's like heaven. It's so good. Sometimes like after a training too, what also rips, even though I don't condone this, is just ripping a red Gatorade. It's got all that red dye 40 in it. It's insane, and it probably drives you out the wall, and this is why I can't sleep and I talk a mile a minute. But I did cut out Gatorade for a long time. I used to do back in the day when I didn't know any better. I would go to like Sam's Club or Costco and I would buy a 24 pack of Gatorade, and I would slug Gatorades, and my dad would be like, that's a lot of sugar, and I would be like, oh yeah, Dad, it's Gatorade, I'm replenishing my electrolytes, I train really hard. And he'd be like, okay. And I also used to be addicted to soda too, but I've done a good job of laying off those things. And I think like doing competitions, even though it's masters or whatever, it's really good for me because it keeps me on the up and up with keeping my diet more healthy, keeping the right type of liquids in me and not the wrong ones. And I'm talking about alcohol and Monster Energies and shit like that. And I don't want to drink those things, but the devil on my shoulder sometimes like, yo, don't you want a white Monster? But actually I don't drink white Monsters. I'll have like a Celsius every now and then, probably more than I should, but I am working on it, and it's a problem, and I am getting help. So keep that in mind. If you see me drinking a Celsius, just slap it out of my hand or be like, what are you doing, dude? What else is going down? So we did the finishers. Check out, WNO is going down. I believe there is a UFC coming up. I think let's check out the UFC right now, see what's going down. If there is a UFC this weekend. But how cool is Paddy Pimblett versus let's see what it says here. Paddy Pimblett versus Topuria. I think that's going to be hilarious. I think that is going to be transformative global ups. What is this asking me? Dude, get out of here. I just want to know what the next UFC is. Next UFC. Come on now. This one just happened. Ritter versus Allen. The Ritter. The Ritter's done so many matches lately. I don't understand the UFC. Why would they ride that guy into the ground? You know what I mean? He was doing matches, so many different matches. And let's see here. Marlon Vera. Yeah, I really like Cheeto. I watched the whole thing on Cheeto of someone saying that he's just not busy enough. I'd have to go back and watch that fight to see if he actually lost it. Not really sure. Oh, yo, Scheisnet. That's this weekend, Saturday, October 25th. Yep, Big Tom Aspinall versus Big Cyril Gahn. Ooh, Mackenzie Dern. That's a strawweight, women's strawweight. Is that for? That's not for a title, is it? Or is it just a match? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know a lot of the champions, to be honest with you. Umar Nurmagomedov. That's probably going to be tough. Volkov, Almeida, Roxman. Trying to see. Sometimes there's game to be had on betting if you can find on the lower cards where a lot of guys' names I don't even know how to say on this shit. Oh, Chris Barnett, he's the man. But you can find sometimes in the women's matches, sometimes in the guys' matches, like when Sabatini first came onto the scene, Pat Sabatini, look him up, dude's a beast. Or Fatima Klein, if they were facing someone, or Aaron Blanchfield, if someone was like, oh man, like this person is, like this girl's really good at jiu-jitsu and they put her up with someone, they made her the underdog just because like Vegas doesn't know or they didn't do the research, and there was money to be had on that. Bet the house on one of them, depending on obviously who their opponent is. Like if they're facing someone else that's super high level, then they're gonna have a hard time. But if they were like first UFC fight and they're getting like another first UFC fighter, someone from like I don't want to diss an area, but someone from somewhere where that doesn't have as good as jiu-jitsu as the East Coast, and one of these guys just straight ate their lunch, dude. And like Pat Sabatini killed a guy. I know Joe Zielecki had like a fight where he won just by being able to take guys down. Same with Aaron. I'm pretty sure she schooled some people. I think she hurt. Was she the one that hurt Meatball Molly? I'm not even sure. But that it's tough though. Now they're getting a little bit smarter. There hasn't been any like crazy jiu-jitsu people that really broke in the game like as of late, where I could really steal some money in the late night. But there's more coming, so we'll see. But what else I wanted to check in with? What did I want to check in with? I think there's a big fight coming up. I know I'm really interested to see the Jack Maddalena, however you say his name. I'm interested to see Jack versus Islam. I think that's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, Craig Jones in the corner of Jack, and then Khabib with Islam. So, want to see what he can do, if he can, knock him out or hurt him on the feet, or if he's going to be able to get taken down and just keep getting back up. We'll see. So, I know they got some stuff up their sleeve, and the one thing I really like about the guys that like Volkanovski and Jack and the guys who work with Craig Jones, like they're really trying, and work with any like high-level jiu-jitsu guys that have a an eye for the MMA game, and they're not teaching them stuff that really isn't pertinent, is they actually have an open mind and they go in and learn it all. And that's what I feel like guys can really get to the next level by coming in there and letting go of the ego and just trying to learn everything, just trying to soak in all the knowledge. And even if it's stuff that you might not use right away, like you want to be proficient at it. Why don't you want to know everything just in case it comes up? You got it in the back pocket. Whether it be wrestling if you're not a wrestler, whether it be doing playing half guard, you don't really play off your back at all, you'd rather be on top, that's fine, but learn some half guard, have a couple of techniques, learn whatever the coaches at the jiu-jitsu class are teaching, just to get a different look, roll with some of the guys, tap out, but it goes back to cross training, goes back to just being able to have no ego and an open mind when you go in there and roll with guys, and just being like, okay, I'm going to get tapped, and it is what it is. I'm going to learn leg locks, and I'm going to learn, whatever. And I see a lot of the high-level guys doing it. They're going in there and they're learning this shit, and they're having an open mind, and I think it's cool to see. I hope, guys do that more, and I hope that people have, like I said, just more of an open mind when it comes to, like, learning stuff. Really, it's tough when you go in to jiu-jitsu and you don't really practice sport jiu-jitsu, and like dudes that are nerds can like leg lock you and stuff, but it's all part of the game, and if you do it properly, you can get in a roll. I mean, look at these guys are in there rolling with Craig, and I'm sure he's giving them good looks. He's not like not going hard or not tapping them or showing them what's up. I'm sure he's whooping their butt too. So it takes a lot for those guys to go out there and actually want to learn it and just submit yourself to the process. So that's huge, right? Have an open mind, people. That's important. What else did I want to go over? Shout out to our sponsor, Puffco. Right, got to show it. If you're just listening to this, that's one thing, but I got to show it here. Super huge, right? Puffco. Shout out to Chelsea from Puffco. This is the peak. This is my favorite thing. Got this bad boy at home. Not this color. I think I have a pink one, or maybe it's not pink. I don't even know what color it is. I don't remember. Right? Rip too many dabs. And then we got these things too. Got to make sure you have one of these bad boys. Right? This thing like heats up, so you can actually just look at the dabs dripping right in there. It looks epic. But shout out to them. I'm going to get some more sponsors eventually, and we're actually just talking to Q before I left. We're working on setting up the other room to be a podcast room as well. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, we're just going to keep it going, right? Keep ripping these quick ones after training. If anyone has any questions or comments or anything, definitely shoot it out there. Let me know what's good. I know a lot of people on YouTube, one of the questions that I definitely have to answer is people keep asking where Grace is. Where's Grace? I haven't seen Grace compete in forever and everything. And, Grace, she really, I think she's retired for good. I mean, she's not, people act like she's, really old, but she's still really young. She's still in her early 20s, so she can obviously compete if she ever wanted to. But I think it was the thing she did as a kid. She still trains a little bit, but... I don't think she's going to come back and compete. So I'm sorry to tell everybody that really stinks. I know, because Grace was like the jam back in the day, when she was a kid coming on the scene. I really appreciate she did a lot for me as a coach. And, Grace was one of those ones that would listen to pretty much everything I said. So, and obviously she had her own style too, but she would always, at least not take for granted some of the stuff I was coaching her with. So, as she got a little bit older, I think she was a little more stubborn with some stuff, but she started opening up her game, a lot more towards the end there, where she was like going for, certain leg locks, and like she had a leg up on some of the girls, like even at Who's Number One, she was going after Danielle's legs, and, Danielle Kelly was a really tough opponent for her. She was able to, put some work on Danielle and get her in some interesting submissions, but Danielle always got out. So I think that was like the one girl that, besides Maisa, obviously, that she never tapped. So Grace made it all the way to number 2 in the world at one point. And I think she was number 1 at the time. I think she, in that first meeting at WNO, I believe Grace won that match, but the judges gave it to Maisa, which is totally fine. She backed her off the mat a whole bunch of times. So there should have been, if there was any kind of stalling call during that, Maisa would have been called for stalling. So, and then in the 30-minute, $30,000 match, Grace did for sure lose that one. She was winning the whole time, and she just kept pressing forward at the end. She was winning the whole match. She could have pulled guard and let Maisa get on top and just not let her pass, and then just rode off into the sunset. But she decided to keep going and trying to, continually pass, got swept and got like mounted, and just end up losing it at the end. So that was sad. Obviously, I was pissed, but not like at Grace or anything like that. I was just mad. Like I maybe I should have told her, to pull guard or something like that in the end and just stall, but it's just never been our style, and honestly, it wasn't even in my mind. I was just having her like, let's try to, keep passing, and, Grace was never the type of person to stall. She would always be pushing forward, sometimes to a fault. So for those of you guys wondering, that's where Grace is. But that, I'll leave you guys with a funny story too. A lot of people know this. Some people, guys from my gym might know, but because there were guys from our gym who came out to that Who's Number One championship, was sick. That was one where Thor tapped Jacob Couch too in the third place match, or fourth place. I don't even know what it was. I think it was the third place match or something like that. Thor got back in it, ended up I don't even know how it happened, but he ended up coming back on day 2 and beating Jacob, which was really dope. So and it was a sick setup. Like Jacob passed his guard and he got like a triangle. He was doing rubber guard on him, popped his knee. It was insane. There was a ton of matches. That was the one where Gabby Garcia went against Amanda Levy. Super sick, crazy match. Crowd was going insane. That was when everybody was against Gabby, and Gabby was a heel at that time, but Craig Jones made her a face. She became a good guy. And Gabby's the best. I really like her. I think she's funny as hell, and she means well. So shout out to Gabby Garcia. But that match, Grace versus Maisa, went down in the finals. and Alex Jones was there. So he was in the crowd, and Murillo Santana was coaching, and he's the head coach of Unity. And Murillo was in ADCC. Thor actually faced Murillo at ADCC. We went to Unity's opening a couple of times. We've had Murillo coach against us multiple times and compete against us, which is crazy. But he's the man. Have a lot of respect for him. And I'm coaching. Eddie's there and everything, and Grace is going against Misa, and Murillo's like, "Good, Misa, good." Like, how his voice is, "Boa, Misa," and everyone's like, "Oh shit! Like, who is this guy?" Like, the people who didn't know him, never heard him talk before. He has a really deep voice, and I can't even do it justice. And Murillo is coaching, and Alex Jones goes, "Dracula, Count Dracula, is it him?" And Murillo goes, "I don't know how to say this in let me say it in English. Suck my beep." And he said that, and everyone in the crowd was like, "Rah," going crazy, and everybody was screaming and stuff. It was a pretty funny story. So there you go, Alex Jones bickering and fighting with Murillo Santana from the stands at Who's Number One Flow Grappling. So if that doesn't hype you up or make you want to look into Tower 7 falling down, then I don't know what will. So shout out to also too, hey, if you guys are looking for like conspiracy theory type stuff, obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff with the Charlie Kirk investigation. Really looking forward to see what happens with that, because I want these people to get exposed. I really want everyone to get exposed. Don't get me wrong, like, I voted for Trump. Everyone knows that. It shouldn't be a secret, but for whatever reasons going on with the Epstein files, I mean, it seems like he's involved. So, I want everybody who's involved in all this shit to go down. So, I think that needs to be said. So, where was I going with that? Paul Blart Mall Cop is going to find the Epstein files, so you guys don't have to worry about it. He is going to find them. Even though malls are closing down, he still has a job to do, and he's going to find those files. So look into that. And conspiracy theories. You can definitely, Tucker Carlson actually just put one out on 9/11. And if you think 9/11 was still like a regular old situation, then you need to look into that. So that's a good one because it's a lot of new information, shit that I kind of knew but didn't know. So definitely look into that. Look into the Epstein files. We're going to get to the bottom of this, guys. I bet you didn't think Uncle Zach was going to take the conspiracies, but I will. And if you're out there, if you don't know who Ian Carroll is, look him up. He's doing some great work. He's one of the best conspiracy guys right now that I follow. I don't have that much time, but when I go home at night, have a little food, fam is sleeping, I'm going to get into conspiracies, all right? So that's the bottom line because Big Uncle Zach said so. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and we will be back next week with some more Wednesday thoughts. I might call this Zach's Office, or I could call it Zach's Corner, I don't know. But if you have, like I said, any questions, anything you want me to cover, holla at your boy. I will cover it. I will go over it. I will talk shit on it. I will break it down into the minuscule pieces that it is. So keep me updated, and thank you guys for listening. Peace.